Mr. Harrison said, "You'll never make it anywhere else." He had this smug look, like he knew everything. I just smiled, a small, tight smile that didn't reach my eyes. 3 months later, his entire career was dust, a smoldering ruin. All thanks to my exit interview. Here's how it happened. Let me take you back a year. I was a project manager at Innovatech, a mid-sized tech company. I loved my job. The work was challenging, and I felt like I was making a real difference. I had been there for 3 years, steadily climbing the ladder. My direct boss was Mr. Harrison. When I first met him, he seemed great. He was charismatic, always had a joke ready. He talked about teamwork and collaboration. I thought I had hit the jackpot with a supportive leader. That illusion didn't last long. My first big project under him was a new client onboarding system. I poured months into it, working late nights and weekends. It was a huge success, cutting onboarding time by 30%. Everyone was impressed. During the quarterly review, Harrison presented the results to the senior leadership. He stood up there, beaming, taking all the credit. He barely mentioned my name, just a passing. My team worked hard. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. It was a small thing, I told myself. He's the manager. He presents the team's work. But it felt wrong. It felt like a betrayal. I tried to talk to him about it later. I walked into his office, trying to keep my voice even. I said I was proud of the project and wanted to make sure my contributions were noted. He just waved his hand dismissively. Harrison said, "Alex, don't be so sensitive. We're a team here. Your success is my success, and my success is yours." It sounded nice, but it felt hollow. He gave me a pat on the back and sent me away. I left his office feeling deflated. That was the first red flag. I didn't know it then, but that small dismissal was just the first stone in an avalanche that would soon bury us all. After that, things slowly started to get worse. Harrison developed a pattern. I would pitch an idea, and he would shoot it down. He would say it wasn't innovative enough or that it wouldn't work. Then, a few weeks later, he'd present almost the exact same idea as his own. He would claim it was a reevaluation of an old concept. He even started micromanaging my daily tasks. I'd be in the middle of a complex coding problem. He would walk over and look over my shoulder. He would ask why I was doing it that way. He would suggest a better approach, which was usually less efficient. It broke my concentration and undermined my confidence. I tried to set boundaries. I told him I needed space to focus on my work. I explained that constant interruptions were impacting my productivity. He just laughed it off. "Harrison, oh, Alex, you're being dramatic. I'm just trying to help. Give you some guidance." Me, I appreciate the guidance, but I need to complete tasks without constant oversight. "Harrison, are you saying I'm bothering you? I'm your manager. It's my job to oversee your work." Me, no. I'm saying I need to manage my time effectively. "Harrison, well, I think I know what's best for the team. Don't you?" He always had a way of turning things around. He made me feel like I was the problem. I started to dread coming into the office. The constant scrutiny was exhausting. My passion for the work began to fade. He wasn't just doing this to me. I saw him do it to others too. He'd tear down junior developers in meetings. He'd make sarcastic comments about people's lunch choices. He created a truly toxic environment. No one dared to speak up. Everyone was afraid of him. I started keeping a journal on my personal laptop. I wrote down every instance of his behavior. Dates, times, specific quotes. I recorded which projects he took credit for. I noted every time he undermined me or a colleague. It wasn't for revenge at first. It was just to keep my sanity. I needed to prove to myself that I wasn't imagining things, that I wasn't the problem. One day, I was working on a crucial presentation for a potential client. Harrison came over to my desk. He said he needed to review it before I sent it. He sat down, opened the file, and started making changes. He deleted entire slides I had worked on for hours. He added his own bullet points, completely changing the flow. He even changed the color scheme to something awful. Me, "Mr. Harrison, I really think that takes away from the core message." "Harrison, Alex, trust me. I know what clients want. This is how you close a deal." Me, but the data I included shows a clear benefit. Your changes remove it. Harrison, the data is too much. Keep it simple. Less is more, right? He saved the document and sent it off himself. He didn't even let me look at the final version. I felt a cold dread wash over me. It was clear he didn't trust my judgment. He didn't respect my work. I knew then that I needed to leave, but I didn't know how I would get out. I feared for my career. The thought of leaving AITA terrified me. I had invested so much, but the environment was crushing my spirit. Every morning, I woke up with a sense of dread. My chest felt tight. I started having trouble sleeping. I knew I couldn't stay. I began discreetly updating my resume. I polished my LinkedIn profile. I started sending out applications to other tech companies. It was a clandestine operation. I didn't want Harrison to find out. If he did, he would make my life even more miserable. He would probably try to sabotage my job search. My dossier on Harrison grew thicker. I had screenshots of emails where he took credit. I had meeting notes where he publicly belittled team members. I even started recording some of our conversations on my phone. These were short snippets, just enough to capture his tone and specific problematic statements. I didn't know if I would ever use them, but having them made me feel a little more secure. It felt like I had a secret weapon. Harrison's behavior, meanwhile, escalated. He seemed to sense my growing detachment. He became even more aggressive in meetings. He would assign me menial tasks, things far below my skill level. He openly mocked my suggestions. Harrison, Alex, that's a brilliant idea. For a junior intern, maybe. We're looking for real solutions here. Me, I thought I'd address the client's pain points directly. Harrison, it's too simplistic. We need sophisticated thinking, something you might not grasp yet. He started spreading rumors, too. I overheard him telling a colleague that I was losing my touch. He said I was unmotivated and not a team player. It was a deliberate campaign to isolate me. It was designed to make me feel worthless. One day, after a particularly brutal meeting, I ran into Maria. She was a senior developer, a few years older than me. She had been with the company for a long time. She looked tired, too. Maria, rough one, huh? Me, understatement of the year. I don't know how much more I can take. Maria, me neither. He's a monster. I saw him do this to David last year. David ended up quitting without another job lined up. Couldn't take it anymore. Me, I'm looking. I just hope I find something soon. Maria, you've got to. No one should have to work like this. Her words gave me a small boost. It wasn't just me. Other people saw it. I wasn't crazy. Maria's quiet support made me feel a little less alone. Maybe I should have just kept my head down, finished my time, and left quietly. But the idea of him getting away with it, of him continuing to terrorize others, started to burn inside me. Then it happened. I got an interview at a rival tech company, Nexus Solutions. It went incredibly well. They offered me a project lead position. It was a significant step up, with a much better salary and benefits. More importantly, it was a chance to escape Harrison. I accepted the offer immediately. What happened next would change everything, not just for me, but for Harrison too. Accepting the new job felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I finally saw a light at the end of the tunnel. But the next step was the hardest, telling Innovatech I was leaving. I drafted my resignation letter carefully. I kept it professional, citing new opportunities and career growth. I didn't mention Harrison. Not yet. I scheduled a meeting with Harrison. I walked into his office, resignation letter in hand. My heart was pounding. I placed the letter on his desk. He picked it up, skimmed it, and his face slowly turned red. Harrison, what is this, Alex? A joke? Me? No, Mr. Harrison. I've accepted an offer elsewhere. My last day will be in 2 weeks. Harrison, you can't do this. We're in the middle of a huge project. You're essential. Me? I've given my 2 weeks' notice. I'll do my best to transition my work. Harrison, transition? You think 2 weeks is enough? This is unprofessional. You're leaving us in the lurch. He got up and started pacing his office. He was furious. He started listing all the projects I was involved in. He tried to make me feel guilty. He tried to intimidate me. Harrison, Alex, I got connections in this industry. A bad reference for me could really hurt your future. Me, I'm confident in my abilities and my work ethic. Harrison, are you? Because I remember a few instances where your abilities were questionable, and your work ethic has been lacking lately. He was trying to scare me. He was trying to bully me into staying, or at least into leaving quietly and without a fuss. But I was done. I stood my ground. I told him my decision was final. He eventually backed down, but his eyes promised retribution. The news of my resignation spread like wildfire through the office. Most people just offered quiet congratulations. Some gave me sympathetic looks. Maria sought me out. Maria, so, you're really going? Good for you, Alex. Don't look back. Me, I won't. I just hope things get better here. Maria, they won't. Not with him around. Me, I know. A few days later, I received an email from HR. It was from the new HR manager, Sarah Jenkins. She had just joined the company a month ago. She had a reputation for being no-nonsense and very focused on company culture. The email was a standard invitation for an exit interview. It was scheduled for my last day. I knew this was my chance. My chance to tell my story. My chance to expose Harrison. But how much should I say? Should I just give a polite, generic exit interview? Or should I lay everything out? The thought of causing a huge stir, of potentially ruining someone's career, even Harrison's, felt heavy. Looking back, I could have just avoided the whole thing, but something inside me snapped. I was tired of being silent. I was tired of letting him get away with it. I decided I would tell Sarah everything. I had no idea how badly this would end, or how much it would cost Harrison. My last day arrived. I had already packed my personal belongings. The office felt different, lighter almost. It was like a countdown clock was ticking. The final event of my time at Innovatech was the exit interview. I walked down the hall to the HR office, my heart pounding a nervous rhythm. My folder, containing all my meticulously gathered evidence, was clutched in my hand. Sarah Jenkins was exactly as her reputation suggested. She was sharp, professional, and had an air of quiet authority. She had keen eyes that seemed to take everything in. She greeted me with a polite smile. Her office was tidy, minimalist. No personal clutter. Sarah, Alex, thank you for coming in. I'm Sarah Jenkins, the new HR manager. I understand you're leaving us today. Me? That's right, Sarah. Thanks for meeting with me. Sarah, of course. Exit interviews are important. They help us understand employee experiences and identify areas for improvement. I'll just be asking a few standard questions. She started with the usual questions. What did I like about Innovatech? What could be improved? Why was I leaving? I gave her the polite, generic answers at first. I talked about new opportunities and career growth. I praised the company's vision and some of my colleagues. Sarah listened patiently, taking notes. She didn't interrupt. Her expression remained neutral. Then she paused. She looked up from her notepad, her gaze direct. Sarah, Alex, I've noticed a pattern in some of the feedback we've received recently. Not just from you, but from a few other departing employees. It seems to point towards management issues, specifically within your department. My breath hitched. This was it. This was the surprising turn. She wasn't just going through the motions. She was looking for something. She had already suspected something was wrong. My resolve hardened. Me? Yes, Sarah. There are definitely some management issues. I've experienced them firsthand. Sarah, could you elaborate? We want honest feedback. Your identity and comments will be kept confidential. I took a deep breath. I decided to be completely honest. I started with the credit stealing incident. I explained how Harrison would take my ideas and present them as his own. I talked about the constant micromanaging. I described the public humiliation in meetings. I detailed the way he sabotaged my client presentation. Me, he created a culture of fear. People were afraid to speak up, afraid to innovate. They were afraid of being targeted. Sarah, Did you try to address these issues with Mr. Harrison directly? Me, multiple times. He either dismissed my concerns or turned it around on me. He made me feel like I was the problem. I then opened my folder. I pulled out printed emails, project timelines, and my written log. I showed her the dates where Harrison took credit for my work. I played a few short audio snippets from my phone. They captured his condescending tone. They recorded him making disparaging remarks about other team members. Me, I didn't want to do this, Sarah, but I felt I had no other choice. This behavior needs to stop. It's destroying morale and driving good people away. Sarah examined the evidence carefully. She didn't show any shock or outrage, just a quiet, focused intensity. She asked clarifying questions. She wrote down specific dates and instances. She was methodical. Sarah, this is serious, Alex. Very serious. I appreciate your honesty and your courage in bringing this to our attention. Rest assured, this will be investigated thoroughly. We have a zero-tolerance policy for this kind of conduct. Me, I just want to make sure no one else has to go through what I did. Sarah, I understand. Thank you, Alex. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Me? No, I think that covers it. She shook my hand. Her grip was firm. I walked out of her office feeling a strange mix of relief and trepidation. I had done it. I had spoken my truth. But what would happen next? Leaving Innovatech felt like shedding a heavy cloak. The air outside felt cleaner, the sky brighter. I drove home with a sense of immense relief. The exit interview was over. I'd laid everything out. Now it was out of my hands. But a part of me worried. Had I gone too far? Was this going to backfire on me somehow? For the first few days, nothing seemed to happen. I started my new job at Nexus Solutions. It was a refreshing change. The team was collaborative. My new manager was supportive. I felt my passion for tech slowly rekindling. Back at Innovatech, things were far from quiet. Maria sent me a text message a week later. Maria, hey, glad you're out. Things are weird here. Me? Weird how? Maria, Harrison's been called into HR multiple times. Long, closed-door meetings. He looks stressed. Also, Sarah Jenkins has been doing culture check-ins with everyone on our team. Me? She's investigating. Maria? Definitely. I think she's talking to everyone who's had problems with him. Even some people who left a while ago. Me? Wow. Maria? Yeah. The buzz in the office is huge. Everyone thinks Harrison is on the chopping block. The rumors intensified. Other colleagues, people I barely knew, started messaging me on LinkedIn. They asked if I had said something in my exit interview. They hinted at their own bad experiences with Harrison. It seemed my honesty had opened a floodgate. People finally felt empowered to speak up. Harrison, meanwhile, was a ghost. He stopped coming into the office regularly. When he did, he looked pale and drawn. His usual swagger was gone. He avoided eye contact. He didn't mock anyone. He just sat at his desk, staring at his screen. The predator had become the prey. The office atmosphere, once thick with tension, was slowly starting to clear. A fragile hope began to bloom. Schrodinger's verdict. It's been 6 months since my exit interview. My life has completely changed. I love my new job at Nexus Solutions. I'm thriving. I'm leading a fantastic team, and I feel respected. My mental health has improved dramatically. I sleep soundly every night. Harrison's fate was sealed. Innovatech conducted a thorough investigation. They found multiple instances of misconduct, corroborating my testimony and the stories of others. He was fired, not just quietly let go, but publicly dismissed for gross professional misconduct. The news spread quickly through the industry. His reputation was shattered. I heard through the grapevine that he's been struggling to find new work. He's had to take a low-level consulting gig, a shadow of his former position. I even heard he's facing some financial difficulties. He had a family, a wife, and 2 kids. Part of me felt a pang of sympathy. Did he deserve to lose everything? Was it right for me to be the catalyst for such a downfall? Sarah Jenkins, the new HR manager, is now a bit of a legend at Innovatech. She spearheaded a company-wide cultural shift. Employee morale has skyrocketed. People are actually happy to work there now. It's a testament to what happens when someone finally listens. So that's my story. Harrison lost his job and his reputation. I found new, better path. Some say I was completely justified in exposing him. They say he got exactly what he deserved for years of toxic behavior. Others say I went too far, that I should have just left quietly and not actively ruined a man's life, even if he was a bad manager. I still don't know if I did the right thing. What do you think? Type your verdict below. And if you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. We share real stories like this one every day. You won't want to miss what happens next.